Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to do a topic people have been asking me to do for quite a while, but I've never gotten around to doing. At least I don't think I ever did. Hopefully not. The topic is, what guns do I most regret selling? Now, you know, some people always say, never sell a gun, you'll regret it. I'm not one of those people. I've sold a lot of guns, and usually I don't regret it. Whatever time I have with that gun, I consider it time well spent, and then I move on to another gun. As long as I sell a gun to buy a gun, I've never really cared if I pass a gun along. Usually they're just things. They're not that important. So I don't usually regret it. But there are a few instances, in fact, more than a few, because a few would be like 3, where I completely regret selling the gun. In fact, I couldn't narrow it down to a top 5 list today, so I'm not going to do top 5 guns I most regret selling. I'm going to have to do top 6 guns I most regret selling. And it was hard, really, to take it down to 6, because it could have been 8. But 6 is what we're going to go with. So this is my list of top 6 guns I regret selling. And we're going to start off here today with number 6. Now, number 6 is a gun that is not valuable or rare. That's not why I regret selling it. It didn't go up in price or anything, or it's nothing I couldn't get again if I wanted it. It's I couldn't get this particular one. And it is a Taurus Model 65. Now, the reason I regret selling this gun is not because, like I said, it's rare or it's expensive or any of those things, so I could easily go get another one. The reason I regret selling this one is because this gun actually saved my life. This is the gun I had on me in Birmingham in my video, you know, how my gun saved my bacon in Birmingham, Alabama, or whatever I entitled it. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the upper corner of the video here and you can go see it. But this gun, like I said, saved my life, but I sold it. And now I kind of regret it. But back when I sold it, I didn't have a lot of money. And I wanted to buy another gun, a better gun. So I sold this along with another gun to buy a better gun. So I kind of like the fact that I got a better gun. But like I said, there's sentimental value here. This is a gun I actually used in a bad situation when some people were attempting to carjack me. And I not carjack in the pleasant way. I mean, actually like hurt me and steal my car. So this is a gun I regret selling for sentimental reasons. That's why it's number 6 on the list here today. It's my Taurus 65. All right, next at number 5 is a gun that you can't get anymore, at least not easily, because the company went out of business. It's also not a cheap gun. It was the Rohrbaugh R9s. And all the S means at the end is it's an R9 with sights, because some of the original ones didn't have sights molded into the slide. This was a little 9mm pocket pistol. I mean, this thing was tiny, and I loved this gun. I had a 2-tone one. I even had the original carbon fiber grips. I didn't use it on it because they were expensive. I actually sold them before I ever sold the gun. But I loved this gun. It was great, and you can't get it now. Now, you can still get the RM380 from Remington, which is the same gun, basically, with a few tweaks. And I do like the tweaks Remington did, but it's not 9mm like the original. One of the things I loved about the original is that it was a super tiny 9mm gun. It was like the big brother of a sea camp. And I really liked the gun. And I sold it. I don't even remember why I sold it or when I sold it. It's probably because I didn't carry it, and I don't really carry small guns all that often. I think it's when I got more comfortable carrying bigger guns. And I just decided, why am I keeping this around? And I got rid of it. But now I regret it. Like I said, didn't know they were going to go out of business. But I wish I had kept that gun. And that's why it's number 5 on my list of guns I most regret selling, my Rohrbaugh 9mm R9s. All right, everybody, now number 4 on the list is a Derringer. But it's not a Derringer like most of you think of. This is the American Derringer Model DA in 9mm. Now, what the DA stands for is double action. You know, most Derringers are single action. You cock the hammer, pull the trigger, cock the hammer, pull the trigger. Well, this one is just pull the trigger, pull the trigger. There's no hammer to cock. It's a double action Derringer. It's got a safety on it, and it's got that little cutaway trigger guard to where the trigger is actually exposed in the front. So it's kind of a cool little gun. It's kind of a unique little gun. You definitely don't see them very often. I actually really liked this gun. And I got to be very intimately familiar with the internals of it. because I took the grip off one night, didn't know the grip is what held all the parts in there, spring-loaded, and they sprang everywhere, all over the table and the floor. And if you can look at that table there in the picture, that's the table I had at the time. Some of you might remember that from earlier videos. That was my tabletop, and made it hard to find little springs and pieces on that patterned table, especially hard to find the ones that landed in the floor. But I finally did find all the pieces and was able to reverse engineer how to put the gun back together, which I had to do because there were no videos on putting it back together. In fact, I didn't know if I'd had all the pieces or not until I finally got it back together in the way it worked. But made me very familiar with the gun. That's one thing I can say. And like I say, it's a unique gun, a gun you don't see very often. And after spending so much time with it, putting it back together, I do kind of regret selling it. I don't remember why I sold it or who I sold it to, but I sold it, don't have it anymore, and I regret it. And that's why it's number 4 on this list. My American Derringer DA model in 9mm. All right, now I'm going to move on to number 3. But before I do, I want to let people know the pictures I'm using tonight probably aren't quite as nice as the pictures you're used to me using. But I'm using actual pictures of the actual guns whenever possible, which is pretty much all of them. Because whenever I would get a gun, I would always, if I bought it at a gun shop, I would take a picture of it, put it in my files, a digital file for ownership. If I bought it off an ad, I would just sometimes take a picture from the ad and do it. But I still had pictures of all the guns, the actual guns. So I think maybe all but one, or maybe just all of them. I can't remember right at the moment when I'm filming. But that's why the pictures aren't quite up to snuff. So please forgive that. But with that being said, I want to move on here to number 3 on the list. And it is a gun I definitely regret selling. Because when we're getting up into these top 3, I am really upset that I sold them. This one is a Smith & Wesson revolver. It's a Model 66, but it's not any Model 66. It's a Model 66 no dash. And it's one of the earliest Model 66 no dash guns because it is all stainless. If you notice here, even the rear sight is stainless on this gun. And they only did that for a little while because after they started trying to mill the rear sights so many times, they found out it's tearing up their machinery, it's tearing up their bits. It's just too small to use that hard steel with, that hard stainless steel. So they went to a carbon steel shortly after the run started. So only a few of them got the stainless front sight, the stainless rear sight, just stainless everything like this one. And this one was perfect. I can't tell you how perfect it was. But I got rid of it. I don't remember why. There must have been something I really, really wanted, and I used it as a bargaining chip. I usually don't remember why I traded these things. Sometimes I do, but not always. In fact, I think I sold this when I was looking to buy a cowboy action setup so I could go shoot cowboy action. And that's what I traded this off so that I could buy my guns for that. So, regretted doing that now. I didn't regret it at the time, but now I do because, like I said, rare gun. I'm not going to find that gun again. Definitely not in the condition that was in. That one looked like it had never even been fired. Came in the original box, was in excellent condition. So I regret selling that one. It's number 3 on the list. My Smith & Wesson Model 66 no dash with the all stainless sights. All right, now we're to number 2 on the list, and this is a gun I really regret selling. This was a relatively rare gun, hard to get gun, a beautiful gun. And at the time, I just didn't realize what I had. It was a Stoeger Luger clone in stainless steel. I got rid of it to buy a Glock. I actually traded it for a Glock. Because at the time when I bought it for next to nothing, like $350. And someone was willing to trade me a brand new Glock still in the box for it. And I was like, sure, because I didn't know what I had. I mean, I knew what it was. I just wasn't enamored with it. Looking back on it now, maybe I'm romanticizing it, but I'm thinking, man, that was such a cool gun to have. Definitely cooler than a Glock, but I didn't have a Glock at the time, never had one. So I'm like, yeah, I'll trade you this gun that I paid $350 for. Used to you for the gun that would cost me $550 to buy. Thought I was getting a good deal. I thought those things would always be around, but they're not around so much anymore, and they're definitely more expensive than they used to be. And like I said, it wasn't the greatest quality gun ever. I wouldn't carry it or anything, but it was a very unique gun, a very nice looking gun. I mean, who doesn't want a Luger in stainless steel? And that's what it was. And that's why I regret selling it. That's why it's number 2 on this list, my Stoeger Luger clone in stainless steel. All right, now we're to number 1, and you might be asking yourself, well, what could he regret more than the stainless Luger or that Smith & Wesson Model 66 No Dash with the all stainless sights? Well, the gun that I actually regret more is a gun that isn't as good as either one of them. It wasn't as practical as either one of them. It was too big for what it was, too heavy for what it was, but I loved it. And I let it go. I let it go at the time, believe it or not, because I had to get rid of some stuff when we were adopting my son. Had too much stuff, didn't have safe storage for it, and I was afraid they were going to give me a hard time about it because they kind of told me they were going to give me a hard time about it. So I downsized, and it was one of the guns to go. And it is the Cop Derringer. If you're not familiar with the Cop Derringer, it is a 357 Magnum or 38 Special 4-barrel Derringer. Very cool gun. I mean, this gun was just something right now I get all flustered even believing that I sold it. Because I'm like, why did I have my hands on this and then get rid of it? At the time, I think it's just because, I'm just clearing things out because I had to get it down to a certain number of guns and get them to where they're all stored. And this was something I'm like, well, I'll give me a challenge later to find it again. And I'd had it for quite a while, paid next to nothing for it. Now they're going for buku money. So, and I think I traded it off, sold it off for probably $300-400. So I didn't make any money off of it. So I really regret selling it. Although at the time I was just getting things done so I could get the adoption done on my son without any hassles whatsoever. Had an inspection coming up and I'm just like, they're not going to find anything to be pissed off about. Not going to have any issues whatsoever. Not going to risk getting my son. So it went along with a lot of other guns, but most of those guns I don't even remember. The one I do remember is the Cop Derringer, because like I said, it's really hard to find, it's really unique, and they're very expensive now. So it is number 1 on the list of guns I regret selling. All right, everybody, that's my show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I do appreciate you coming, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I want to remind everyone out there to always carry, especially if it's one of these really awesome guns, and stay safe until I see you again. Did I not bring the list out with me? I didn't bring out the list. Back out of it, that was the rental fee. Fuck. What I've been like in my life. Fuck. The topic is, what guns... That's coming out both ends. What is that humming? I can still hear it. I don't know what it is. It's loud. Derringers, as you know, single action. You cock the... All right. Because of having that intimate, familiar... So I traded it off on a Glock. Wait, did I ever say what it was? No, I don't think I did.